Join me for another cup of tea, and I'm going to talk about some books today. Some books that I have loved and have really helped me on my healing journey and my kind of desire to retire early, which I've succeeded in. But I just wanted to talk about the books that have really helped me on my journey over the past 10 years. Some of these books I read long ago, and one of them I finished just a few days ago. There are so many books I could talk about. There are so many that I have read. I've literally devoured books. But these are books that I happen to have copies of in the house. And I thought some of you would be interested because on one of my videos, the last one I did, I mentioned about wanting to retire early when I was in my late 40s. And Mr. Money Moustache, the guy who wrote blogs about being a badass and retiring early and not following the conventional way of having debt and mortgages and big cars, etc. And I was thrilled that some of you commented that you too had been inspired by Mr. Money Moustache. So I'm going to make this video today just about a couple of books. There are 4 books that I've got here. As I said, I could do loads of videos just on books that I've read. And I'm going to go camping later, so I'm sitting here doing this with my mind also on things that I've got to put in Romi the campervan. So expect a long video. If you are here on this channel because you saw me talking about my Roma home, and the last couple of videos have been more about life stuff, I will be doing another Roma home video very soon. But for today, it's books. The first book is a really great read. It's this one. It's called Jim and the Universe by D.M. Green. I can't remember how I came across this book. I think it was on Kindle and one of the suggestions for, obviously based on some of the books that I had previously read. And I read it. It's so great. If back in the day you enjoyed Adrian Mole, The Diary of a 13 3/4, or whatever he was, by Sue Townsend. This book is sort of similar. It's the main character is this kid who's sort of 14, and the way he views the world. He's a worrier, and I completely identified with him. He comes from a family of worriers, and he makes friends with this older, mysterious lady who kind of teaches him about manifesting and the universe. And it's honestly brilliant. If you are new at the universe, or you kind of don't really know what I talk about when I say manifesting in the universe, this is such a great book, and it's not a heavy read at all. And on my other YouTube channel, the Welsh Lady ASMR, I actually contacted the author D.M. Green and just said, look, I love your book so much. Would you mind if I read it on my lives? I used to do YouTube lives on the relaxation channel. He was so gracious, and he said he would be thrilled. So I did, I read it, and there are some recordings of the book if you want to listen to it. But otherwise, please support the author and go and buy it if you're interested. It's on Amazon. I think he's done others in the series as well. Yeah, I keep this on my shelf, and I always recommend it to people who are curious about the sort of universe. That's my first book. Anyone else read it? The next book, a little bit more serious, but again, I read this probably 10 years ago, and oh wow, changed how I feel about putting things off, or some of the other things that I've done, which I'm still trying to recover from, which is people pleasing and doing things that I feel I should, either to keep other people happy or to keep society happy. And it's a brilliant book. It is this one. It is the Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. Now, it is not as morbid as it sounds. This lady, Bronnie Ware, great lady, and it's published by the Hay House. I think I've mentioned that when Louise Hay was alive, I used to love you can still read her books, but I used to love following the Hay House summits every year, and they used to have some really good speakers. Well, this has been published by Hay House, and Bronnie Ware speaks from her experience as being a carer for people who were terminally ill, coming to the end of their lives. And she noticed a theme from people as they got to the end of their lives as to what their regrets were. And there's 5 of them. And so an example of one of the regrets, which I completely identified with, was I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Yeah, mind-blowing. It's like, at what stage, because I fell into this trap. I can't give up work yet. I've got to keep going. I need more money. I need more things. I need a bigger house. And it's just like, if you were knowing that you were going to die tomorrow, it would be awful to think that that was one of your regrets, that you should have maybe given up work or wanted less, that you could live more simply. And if you are in any way that way inclined or thinking about it, this is a brilliant book. And, you know, she goes into quite a long depth about the lovely characters that she looks after. And it's such a lovely read. The next book I think I've mentioned before on some of my videos and would suit you if maybe you're in a job working for a company or a boss that you really are unhappy in, and that maybe you've got something that you would like to do, a passion that you're probably thinking, I can't make any money from it, then this is the book for you. And I read this book 10 years ago when I was deeply unhappy in the corporate world. I'd got myself in a position where I had to earn so much money, and thinking, you know, there was other things I wanted to do, but that was never going to make any money, because I was listening to the conditioning of the way I was brought up, that yes, that's very nice, but you'll never earn money doing that. And it's just such a refreshing read. And I've mentioned her before, Marianne Cantwell. She wrote this book, Be a Free Range Human. She's also done a TEDx talk, which you can find on YouTube, I think, and that's well worth listening to as well. This is where I got the word liminal from, because she introduced it to me for the very first time. And it's that maybe you don't fit into a box with regards to a career, and that there isn't one job. And that was very much how I felt when I was in that job. I liked parts of the job, but there was other parts that really, really, you know, I just couldn't fit in with, the way I had to work to please the bosses. And what she is sort of suggesting in this book is that if you've got a passion, if you've got something that you think maybe you can't make money, it's a guide, and it's examples of other people and the types of things that they've done. So again, well worth reading that one. You can get it on Amazon, or even try World of Books. I buy secondhand books, and that's where I got this one from, actually. I also had it on my Kindle first. No, I borrowed it from the library. That's what it was. I borrowed it from the library, read it, loved it. A couple of years later, I was like, oh, what was that book? And I couldn't get it in the library, and I got it myself from World of Books. So that's another book. And finally, you know, this book I only finished a few days ago. Got it out to the library. It screamed at me. And do you know what? This is what I mean about intuition. Sometimes you've got to listen to the things that scream at you. And I think it was on its edge on the shelf like this. And I thought, oh, there's an attractive cover. I picked it up. It's by Elizabeth Gilbert. Now, this is the lady who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. My sister gave me that book a few years ago. She picked it up in the airport on the way to one of her trips. She loved it, and around about the same time they brought the film out, and she raved about the book. So I watched the film, and I've loved the film so much. I've watched it so many times. Still haven't read the book. It's still on my bookcase there. But I saw this in the library, and it's following on from Eat, Pray, Love. It's about Elizabeth Gilbert herself, and it's pretty brutal. It's a searingly honest account of life for her after the success of Eat, Pray, Love. And she had this friend that she'd been friends with for decades, and how they fell in love. She left the guy. I'm not going to put too many spoilers in it. You probably already know already. She left the guy that she met at the end of Eat, Pray, Love. She married this friend of hers, And really this book is about their relationship and the turbulence and the quite deep problems that they experienced before her partner died. And she talks a lot, which is why it's really hit a note with me. Elizabeth Gilbert talks a lot about being codependent, and that really resonated with me because I've been to counselling and therapy a few times over the years, and that theme has been brought up to me a few times. So I completely identified when she talks about her problems in relationships and how she didn't just like throw herself in, she lost herself in these relationships. And so if you are kind of ears pricking up at that idea, then it's a really good book. And it looks quite thick, but I read it in about 2 days because it is, you can literally speed read it. It's brilliant. And that is my 4 books. Let me know what you think. Have you read any of these? Are you interested in any of them? As I said, if you like hearing about the books that I recommend, I've got loads that I've read, as I said, over the years. But those are the ones that I happened to find today. As I said, I'm making this video as a quick one. It's only going to be a short video because I'm going off in my camper van. So yes, before the end of the weekend, there will be another longer video from the Roma home. I'm going to be showing you I'm going to be trying out some setups beside the camper van for shelter in the summer. And also just, going to try out some things. But the weather forecast is looking really great. I hope you're all going to have an amazing bank holiday weekend. I'll see you very soon.